Greetings. If you're like me, I bet you're wondering at this point in the year about the mid-interval review process and have some questions about your SLO goal and some STAR data. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle these questions as they are fresh on the minds of many of us at this time of the year. And I'm going to jump in first to the goal setting guidance that we put together with some of our administrators here in the district. As you know, during the mid-interval review, there's an opportunity built into the educator effectiveness process that allows us to take a moment to reflect on the hard work that we've been doing in our classrooms and look at the growth that we've made and our students have made. One of the aspects to the mid-interval review process is an adjustment period to look at your SLO goal and make any adjustments as necessary. And so, as we look at the 100% goal and we look at future potential scoring of SLOs, we wanted to provide a little bit of guidance around how to create a meaningful and attainable goal, one that allows us to reach our goals, two, that continues to set the bar high for us in the system, and three, continues to allow us to focus on the growth of all students as it relates to STAR. So, with that said, you should, at this point in the year, be taking a look at the assessments and the various ways that you've measured your students' growth throughout the school year. And if you use STAR, you should continue to use STAR. If you've used another assessment, you should continue to move forward using the assessments that you had previously been using. So, with that said, what does that mean in terms of adjusting the 100% goal that we have in place? I have attached for you here a sheet that will also be uploaded into the Educator Effectiveness website that I've put together. On the sheet, you can see that there are various growth goals that we're after, depending on where your kids currently sit at in terms of their growth as a class. And there's a couple of things that I'd like to point out here. One is, as you take a look at the sheet, you see that there are 5 columns. One is the target priority level. The other column is the STAR student growth percentile. And then you have a black band, and above that, a series of columns that reads classroom, 100, and 500, and then parens school level. We'll talk about what each one of those mean here in a second. First of all, when you run an SGP report, or if you look at your student growth data, if you have students at a level of 59% of less meeting their STAR student growth percentile, or not performing at a level of 59% or higher on another assessment in your classroom, you need to set a goal that is aggressive, meaning that you need to lift up the performance of a greater number and percentage of students in your class. So an aggressive goal, if you have student growth that is at 59% or less, is a 16% increase at the classroom level. So if you're the primary teacher for literacy and the primary teacher for math, so this is typically for teachers at the kindergarten through 5th grade level, you are the one that's primarily responsible for delivering the instruction in these content areas. And therefore, you have a greater opportunity to have the time and instructional means available to you to reach 16% growth in your class. Now, when you translate what 16% is across 25 students, we're talking about a number of about 2 to 3, maybe 4 students growing at a higher level than they're currently at. All right, so what does the 100 mean? Let's say that you are in the middle school or at our upper middle school or high school, and you see multiple sections of students a day. There's fewer opportunities for you to interact and intervene academically. And with a reduced number of opportunities and with timing being a factor, you're looking for an aggressive goal of a 12% increase. Again, translated over that 100% of students, that's a reasonable, although aggressive goal. And at the school level, so this would be the building principal level SLO, let's say that 59% or less of your students across your entire building, so across multiple classrooms, are meeting their growth goal. That would be 6% increase. So you follow that up through moderate and nominal, and you can take a look and see that that is basically how the goal setting criteria break down. So, for instance, if you have a classroom where 75% of your students are meeting typical growth according to SGP in STAR, you would want to set a goal that is only 5 to 10% higher. So you want to lift up one or two more kids. That is a reasonable goal to assume that you could meet by the end of the year. So we would measure that from the winter to the spring window. Likewise with a moderate goal. So there's some general guidelines there for how you can set goals using any assessment. I've put STAR SGP there, but really you could look at the number of students meeting growth and use that goal. In the future, we'll use guidance similar to this sheet to both review and analyze student data to set reasonable goals for SLOs in the future. I gave a pretty technical explanation, and I realized that it's a voiceover, but wanted you to know that there is guidance out there. Again, this sheet will be attached to the website. And I did want you to know that this just wasn't conjured up out of thin air, that we did actually use and cite a couple of resources and research for setting appropriate academic goals in our classroom. So again, happy to answer any further questions about how we got here, but hopefully this provides guidance and also sets us up for end of the year scoring practice with our SLOs and creates a system where we have goals that are attainable for our teachers, attainable for our students, and really allow us to focus in on the students that need to make the greatest amount of growth in the time that we have remaining with them this year, and hopefully lift up the performance of all students. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and provide an opportunity for those not using STAR to pause this video. So if you're not using the STAR assessment, so that'd be some of our upper middle school and high school teachers, you can go ahead and not watch the video any further. For those of you who are using STAR, I want to show you what the SGP report looks like, and I'm going to go ahead and open that up right now. And for a variety of different reasons that should be obvious to most of us, I've blurred out the name of the school and the teacher, and then there is a student name there at the bottom, so that's why you're seeing those blue boxes there. There's also a red circle in the middle, and that should draw your attention to that SGP measure that we're talking about. So in the case of this fourth grade teacher, 60% of this fourth grade teacher's students met typical growth as measured by the SGP. Typical growth is 50 SGP or 50 student growth percentile points. Any student that's over 50 is at or above typical growth for other students that same age group, and we're comparing students across the country, millions of different tests. So most kids at this time of the year are being normed to around 700,000 other test takers. So pretty accurate measure of what typical growth at this time of the year is. And so, again, taking a look at this, we want to take a look at the number of students, so the 12 of 20 have demonstrated typical growth. So according to the other document that we had pulled up before, that teacher would want to set a goal of a 13% increase at the classroom level. So would want to review and revise their mid-interval goal to read something along the lines of, I will increase the number of students who are demonstrating typical growth as measured by star reading from 60 to 73% by the spring assessment window. And that would be a reasonable and attainable SLO reviewed and revised goal. I hope that helps. I hope that's a little bit more reasonable. Again, we've covered this with some of the building principles. I've delivered this video. Further information will be coming out, and happy to continue to answer questions. It's also important to remember that we are growing in our knowledge of educator effectiveness. We're growing in our knowledge of the STAR assessment, and this is a learning year. So we will continue to work until we find the balance of student growth, educator effectiveness, and setting effective goals that are meaningful and attainable. And also keep in mind that if this does not improve teaching and learning, then we're doing it wrong. So we need to find the things that matter the most to us and set our goals and our sights on that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all you do in the classroom. And again, feel free to reach out to me, Kurt Mold, up at the district office in the assessment and continuous improvement office, and be happy to answer any questions you may have. Take care. Have a great evening.